In the last lesson, we worked with fractional values, and in today's lesson, we're going to work with mixed numbers and fractions, also without a calculator. Welcome to Math Mini Lessons. All right, here's our first model. We're going to use solve again to plan out what we're going to do. Matt and Ben are baking. Matt needs 5 5/6 cups of flour and 3/4 cups of oil, and Ben uses 4 1/12 cups of the mix for brownies. How much mix is left? So let's state the problem. Just going to quote it. How much mix is actually left? Or, in my own words, how much mix is left after making brownies? Here's our facts. We know we have to add the flour, we have to add the oil, and we're going to take out the mix. So looking at those three values, we know what we're adding in. I have those listed as positive numbers and what is taken out as a negative. And here's our plan. We're going to add up all three of these amounts. I'm going to express them all as one expression, 5 5/6 plus 3/4 minus 4 1/12. Just for more clarity, I know I want to add the first two numbers first, the 5 5/6 and the 3/4. That's going to give me the total amount of mix. And then I'm going to subtract 4 1/12 from that total. So that's how I'm going to express it. I'm going to use parentheses also to know what is the thing I'm going to do first. Hit pause so you can jot this down into your notes, and we'll go into our plan. So here's my plan written as an expression. I'm going to add first. I put those in parentheses, and then I'm going to subtract. So let's start the very first step, just the adding. 5 5/6 plus 3/4. I'm going to add those two fractions. I'm not going to worry about, I'm going to move this 5 a little bit because I know I'm adding, the 5 is going to stay there. So let's move it over a little bit. And let's add 5, 6, and 3/4. So I'm going to multiply my denominators to get 24. 6 times 3 is 18. 5 times 4 is 20. We're going to add those two together and get 38 over 24. We know this is an improper fraction. So 38 divided by 24 is 1. And that leaves me with 14 out of 24. I'd rather work with a friendlier number. So I could simplify this as half this. And make this, let's see, I can divide both by 2. So 7 twelfths. All right, so let's go back to the beginning. And now I have 5 plus 1 7/12. That's nice and easy. That's just 6 7/12. So that's giving me this value here. Now I just have to subtract here. So let's rewrite our problem. I have 6 7/12 minus 4 1/12. Oh, and the good thing about this is our denominators are already the same. So this will be easy enough to do. 6 minus 4 is 2. And 7/12 minus 1/12 is just 6/12. So that's nice and easy. It's not improper, but we do have to simplify it. So I'm going to put my little s there to simplify it. 6 goes into both. So 2 1/2. That is my final answer. So let's put that in there. They have 2 1/2 cups of mix left. And that's the great thing about me just sitting in and rewriting it, because as soon as I said it aloud, I was able to quickly find my error. So let's hit pause so we can jot this down into our notes. And here is our second problem for today. Felicia, by Felicia, well, she lives 1 1/6 miles from school and 9/10 of a mile from Van Cortlandt Park, so not too far from Atmosphere Academy. How much closer does she live to the park than to school? So just quoting the problem, that second line, how much closer does she live to the park than to school? Or, in my words, what's the difference between the distance to school and the distance to the park? So I want to know the difference between those two numbers. Here are our facts. We know the distance to school and we know the distance to the park. And just looking at them, you can notice one is fractional, one is decimal. So let's think about that in our plan. I want to make sure that both of them have the same form. Either they're both fractions or they're both decimals, which means I'm going to have to change one of them. I'm going to choose making them, let's see, is it easier to change 1/6 to a decimal, or is it easier to change 9/10 to a fraction? I'm going to decide to change 9/10 to a fraction and add. And you may think, why? Well, I can change 1 1/6 to a decimal, but it's not going to be a terminating decimal. It's going to be a number that repeats. So I'd rather be super accurate and have them both written as fractions. And then once I have them both as fractions, I'm going to subtract the distance to the park from the distance to the school. Why am I going to take away the park number? Why do I want that to be the second? Because I know the distance to the school is a greater number. So I'm going to do the school minus the park. All right, let's hit pause so you can jot this down into your notes and let's see it in action. Great, so here's our plan. I'm going to subtract the distance from the school, 1 1/6. Well, I'm subtracting the distance to the park, 9/10, from the distance to the school, 1 1/6. I took the 9/10 as a decimal and I just set its name, 9/10, to turn into a fraction, 9/10. And now I can do my subtraction work. So 1 1/6. Let's change this to an improper fraction, 7/6. And now I can subtract 9/10. My denominators are different, but we're going to use our same steps. 6 times 10 is 60. 6 times 9 is 54, and 7 times 10 is 70. And remember, we're subtracting these two numbers. And when I subtract 70 minus 54, I get 16 over 60. Definitely not improper, but we absolutely need to simplify. So let's think about some common factors here. And I noticed that they're both even, so I'm just going to keep using 2 as a common factor. So when I use 2, I get 8/30. A lot of kids tell me this is like it's halving, like I'm halving both numbers because I'm dividing both by 2. And I'm going to use 2 again because they're both even. So I get 4/15, and I can't do that again. Now, that kind of went fast, so just so people can see, my common factor was 2. So I divided both numbers here by 2. How did I know I used 2 as a common factor? Because these were both even. I did the same thing again here. They were both even, so I divided by 2. So now when I'm thinking about my common factors here, my factors of 4 are 1, 2, and 4. And for 15, I have these factors, so they don't have anything in common except for 1. So this tells me it is already in its most simplified form. So my final answer, how much closer does she live to the park than to school? She is 4/15 of a mile closer. I want to have a full sentence. Closer to the park than to school. There you have it. Hit pause so you can jot this down into your notes. And we'll get the practice, and I will see you in the next lesson, Math Marvels. Take care.